Today, we're gonna show you how to make mouth-watering ribs on your Weber kettle. Let's head out, get the grill fired up. Let's get cooking. Okay, we'll go ahead and add some of those B&B briquettes. Now, I'm cooking indirect today, so it is important to make sure that I load this chimney up enough, right? As you can see from the two side baskets here, I have a little bit of raw charcoal or unburned charcoal that is sitting in there. That's gonna help me stretch my cook a little bit longer today. So, chimney's full. I have a tumbleweed under here. Let's go ahead and get that started on both ends. Time for a new lighter, apparently. All right, now that that's set, we'll let that get started. We'll go ahead and add that chimney right back on top. Like I said, we'll come out now when these are about 90% started, leaving us just a little bit on top to help stretch our cook again. All right, time to pour the charcoal. So what I like to do is pour a little bit in that guy right there, getting that set for our indirect cooking. And then we'll also pour a little bit in here. Now, don't worry if you get briquettes out of the basket. We'll come back with tongs and grab those. But look at that. The nice thing about this system is that charcoal is going to burn in, giving us a much longer cook time. Okay, so one of my tips, right, on this grill grate on these deluxe kettles, you're gonna have a hinge that's gonna allow that to open. I love this because that allows us to add extra charcoal if we ever have to supplement more charcoal. Obviously, our goal is to add enough in the beginning so we don't have to, but if you ever do, that hinge comes in super handy. So now we'll go ahead and add that right over. We've got it set, and look at that, indirect on both sides. We'll put our ribs right down the middle. All right, so we'll go ahead and adjust the bottom like that, right about there, and then we'll head up and adjust the top as well. The goal is to, between the bottom and top adjustments, hold right at 250 degrees. Today's ingredients, we have 2 racks of baby back ribs. I love baby backs. I think they have a great flavor, so we went with these today. Keeping it simple on rubs, we're gonna do a little Island Boys coffee and a little bit of Rub-A-Dub together. We're gonna use oil as our binder, but I'll tell you what, super simple ingredients because we're gonna let the flavors of that Weber kettle do all the magic. The first part of the prep process is, check it out, we have the membrane on the back of the ribs. Now, you can tell when that membrane is there because this is still shiny. We'll show you what it looks like when it's been removed. But what I do, pick the best spoon you have in your silverware drawer. Your spouse will thank you immensely. Ha ha, right? So I picked the spoon out of my silverware drawer, and what I'm gonna do is go right along the bone, and I'm actually just gonna wiggle this in here. You can see it separate a little bit. Now look at this, watch. We're gonna pull that forward a little bit while we wiggle it a little bit just to make a hand hole so we can get in there, right? Then we're gonna rotate this. Now, I keep a piece of paper towel around because just in case this membrane gets a little slippery, we wanna be able to hold onto it. Paper towel helps. So, I like to go underneath that with all my fingers, carefully pull that membrane off, and then start like that. And I will tell you, this never happens where it pulls that clean, but thankfully today it did. Now, this is what we're left with, that membrane. 2 schools of thought. Some folks like to leave that membrane on. I do not. I think this is very tough, and when it cooks, actually texturally makes your ribs much, much different. Now, as you can see, like I said, if your ribs don't have a membrane, this is what it is going to look like. Very dull. You'll also see some little striations in there. Step 2 of the process now, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of oil on top just to act as a binder. Listen, I know you can use mustard, you can use hot sauce. I'm just gonna stick a little bit with oil on the top. And we'll hit it with a little bit of that Rub-A-Dub. And you know what we always say, season as light or as heavy as you prefer. We'll go ahead and get over to this guy as well. Get this seasoned up. And I'm just packing it on here. I wanna make sure everything sticks really nice to that oil. And then guess what? We'll go ahead and flip this rack. And now I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on the backside. Why? Because guess what? When you eat ribs, you're gonna put your lips on the top and the bottom of this rib. I want there to be flavor on both sides. And then we'll finish the backside with a little bit of our coffee rub, really giving this thing just absolute like flavor. All right, now that the ribs are all seasoned, we're gonna use my secret weapon, apple cider. This is gonna add moisture. It is gonna help build bark. Now, you could totally use apple cider or apple juice. Just make sure it's filtered so there's nothing that can clog up your sprayer. Hey, speaking of sprayer, this is my home sprayer that I only use for spritzing. So this has been washed, rinsed, sanitized, reloaded with some fresh apple cider. We're gonna spritz these guys every 45 minutes once we put them on the grill, and I'll tell you, beautiful flavor, amazing bark. We are at 250 degrees, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the ribs, being careful not to have my ribs go over the top of the charcoal. So we'll get them set in there really nice like so. Now we're all set. We'll close it up, cook at 250 degrees. Now listen, every 45 minutes we'll come back and spray these, but I estimate total cook time today, 5 hours. Here we are right at about 4 hours and 45 minutes, and tenderness is beautiful. Starting to get a nice little bit of rib pull. Now, time to go through here. Last 10 minutes or so of cooking, I'm gonna baste it with a little bit of that fire honey, get this glazed on there so they're nice and sweet and sticky, delicious. Here we are right at that 5 hour mark. Look at that beautiful shine from the glaze on that honey. Tenderness is right where we want it. We'll go ahead and get this one off. We'll head in the kitchen. We'll see you there. Ribs off the Weber kettle doesn't get any better than this. These smell and taste incredible. If you're looking for another great Weber kettle video, be sure to check out our rotisserie chicken video. That coming up next.